Well, it's time again to answer 10 questions from Carl Shoupp's book, Test Your Bible Knowledge. They are multiple choice questions, there are 4 answer choices, and it's my job to pick the correct answer. Each one of the questions comes with a reference out of the Bible in case you wanted to do a little further research on the question on your own. I'm answering questions now from the Book of Deuteronomy, and I've been able to answer them all correctly in the last 2 quizzes, so I'm kind of on a bit of a roll. I'm hoping to keep that up with this next quiz. Deuteronomy is a book that is full of rules and regulations about how to live your daily life for the Israelites. And some of the questions have been a little tricky, but most of them have been somewhat straightforward, so I'm hoping that happens on this next set of 10. Okay, the next question that I'll answer will be question number 221. The congregation of the Lord was not to be barred to A, Ammonites or Moabites, B, an Israelite wounded in the stones or whose privy member had been cut off, C, a bastard, or D, a 4th generation Egyptian. And I am going to go with answer choice A here, Ammonites and Moabites. I remember that there was some sort of animosity here towards these 2 groups, and they certainly do crop up a lot in the Old Testament. So I'm going to go with A for question number 221. Okay, question 222. Every Israelite warrior was to carry a paddle upon his weapon so that he might A, signal for help, B, start a fire, C, cover up his excrement, or D, limp home if wounded. And I remember this, the correct answer here is C, cover up his excrement. Okay, question number 223. An Israelite was not forbidden to A, eat his fill of grapes in his neighbor's vineyard, B, put 1 or more grapes into his vessel, C, put a sickle to his neighbor's standing grain, or D, do both B and C. Okay, this type of question here is a difficult one to answer. First, the question itself, an Israelite was not forbidden to. In other words, an Israelite was allowed to A, eat his fill of grapes in his neighbor's vineyard, B, put 1 or more grapes into his vessel, C, put a sickle to his neighbor's standing grain, or D, do both B and C. Now, I do remember that the Israelites, they could pick the corn, I guess, with their hand, but they weren't allowed to use an actual tool to go and harvest, I guess, their neighbor's grain. So I would say C is incorrect if I'm reading the question correctly, and then B would be incorrect also. Put 1 or more grapes into his vessel. I think the answer here is A, eat his fill of grapes in his neighbor's vineyard. So I'm going to go with A for 223. 224. A man whose former wife, after being divorced by him because of some uncleanness in her, married and was again divorced or was widowed, was not to A, refuse to remarry her, B, remarry her, C, marry her to someone else, or D, send her into exile. And I think that the answer here is B, remarry her. I believe that that is the answer here. It wouldn't be refuse to remarry her, marry her to someone else. That is, I don't think it's that. D, send her into exile. I don't think that's the answer either. So I'm going to stick with B, remarry her. All right, moving on to 225. A newly married man was to be free from going out with the army or being charged with any business for 1 A, day, B, week, C, month, or D, year. And I remember this, it is D, 1 year. So for 225, answer D. Okay, 226. The Israelite was not specifically forbidden to A, go back to fetch a forgotten sheaf, B, go over the boughs of his olive trees after beating them, C, glean his vineyard after gathering its grapes, or D, milk the cow after the first pail was full. Okay, D is not correct, so that is eliminated. And again, this question is worded just kind of strangely. The Israelite was not specifically forbidden. In other words, the Israelite was allowed to do this. And the go back to fetch a forgotten sheaf, I'm not sure. Go over the boughs of his olive trees after beating them. I know that they weren't allowed to do that because they were supposed to leave some of the fruit for the widows or whatever. And C, glean his vineyard after gathering its grapes. I think that B and C are about the same. So I'm going to have to go with A, go back to fetch a forgotten sheaf. So I'm going to go with A, and we'll just have to see what the answer is for that. 227. The guilty man in a dispute could be given by the judge a maximum beating of A, 10 stripes, B, 20 stripes, C, 40 stripes, or D, 80 stripes. Answer here again is C, 40 stripes. So I'm feeling pretty confident about that. 228. A childless widow of one who had been dwelling with his brother was to pull her brother-in-law's shoe off his foot and spit in his face if he A, asked her to marry him, B, refused to ask her to marry him, C, advised her never to marry anyone else, or D, put her out of the house. And this one I remember because it was such an odd thing to do. I believe that the answer is B, refused to ask her to marry him. So I'm going to go with B on this one, 228. 229. If the wife of one who was losing in a fight with another man tried to rescue him by seizing his opponent by the secrets, she was to be A, commended, B, assisted, C, directed, or D, punished. And with this one, I'm going to just go with D, punished. Commended, assisted, directed, those all seem to be good things that would happen. But D, punished, that is completely opposite from the other choices. So I'm going to go with that, D, punished. 230. Each Israelite was to have of kinds of weights or measures, A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4. And I think that the answer here is A, 1. One kind of weights or measures. So letter A is my answer for 230. Okay, that is 10. They made it very difficult to choose the correct answer, try to make sense of those questions. So a little trickery here, making it a little difficult. So back to the answers, I'm going to go and see which one of these I was able to answer correctly. And I'm going to find number 221 among the columns here. And the answer for 221 is D. So right out of the gate, I missed the first one. Let me look back here, 221. The congregation of the Lord was not to be barred to, and the answer is D here, and I picked the Ammonites and the Moabites, so got that one wrong. 222. Answer is C, and that is what I put down, C. 223, answer is A, that's what I put down. 224, answer B, and I marked B. 225, answer is D, and I put down D also. 226, answer is D, and I marked A. So let's take a look back and see. Okay, it's the Israelite was not specifically forbidden to, and the correct answer is D. Milk the cow after the first pail was full. That is right out of left field. I did not think that was the answer, but apparently it is. So we will have another one wrong. 227, answer C. That's what I put down. 228, answer is B. That's what I put down. 229 is D. I marked D, which is good. 230, the answer is A, and that's what I put down. That's great. So of those questions, which were, I don't know, they were phrased in a way that made you have to think about what you were going to mark for the answer, I missed 2. So I have 8 correct. That is an 80%, which is not too bad. So that won't really harm my cumulative score, but a 100% would have obviously been a lot better. Well, there are just, I think, 10 more questions out of the Book of Deuteronomy, and we'll get those next time, and then it's off to the Book of Joshua.